Hey, BNI Chicago members, Executive Director Rachel here with a quick video for the beginning of week 4 of Summer Games 2023. We are talking again about one-to-ones. One-to-ones are a great way to increase your visibility, credibility, and profitability among your BNI team, and it is a great way to increase your score for Summer Games. This year for Summer Games, each one-to-one is worth 25 points, and you can earn a total of 250 points by doing a total of 10 one-to-ones during the contest period. This week, we want to highlight last week's BNI podcast episode, the importance of one-to-ones. In this, Dr. Ivan Meisner talks about how to get a yes for a one-to-one. And so here are his top 5 tips on that. First things first, schedule well in advance. One of the things that I like to do when I'm doing one-to-ones is I pick a day of the week that is my primary day for one-to-ones. It makes it easier, it makes it more repeatable. When I was in an in-person BNI chapter, I used to always leave an hour of time booked on my calendar immediately following the Thursday morning meeting I was a part of, right? The meeting was from 7:30 until 9, and I would book from 9 until 10. So I could not get overloaded on Thursdays, and I always had time to do a one-to-one. That way, I already knew where my one-to-one partner was going to be at the meeting with me, and it made it really easy. And a lot of times it took less than an hour because maybe our meeting would finish a little early, or maybe our one-to-one wouldn't take the full hour, and we didn't have to worry about someone being late or transit or things of that nature. So scheduling well in advance. Even if you don't know who your one-to-one partner is, put a one-to-one on your calendar each week. The second one is scheduling outside of your busiest season. You want to be consistent with one-to-ones, but you also don't want to create a scenario where you're accidentally no call, no show someone, or you find yourself constantly rescheduling or canceling. That's going to hurt your credibility. And what you're doing here is building visibility, credibility, and profitability. You also want to have a purpose and a format. In my video a few weeks ago, we talked about using the gains exchange as a way to give yourself that format for the meeting. You want to make sure that you always are leaving with an action item and that you clearly know your goal for your partner and that they have a clear understanding on what your most pressing goal is right now. Last week, I had a one-to-one with Chris Meister. It might sound funny because he and I talk all the time, but we set aside some time specifically to have a gains exchange. And we talked about some of his goals and some of my goals. For example, one of my goals right now this summer is I want to launch the first Hall of Fame chapter in BNI. In BNI Chicago? What is a Hall of Fame chapter? Well, that is a chapter that reaches 35 members shortly after the kickoff. So usually what happens is a new chapter launches and then they have a kickoff date scheduled. And about 2 weeks after that kickoff date, we count up the roster. And if there are 35 or more members, we get to submit that chapter for Hall of Fame status with BNI Global. So that's my goal. I've never done it before. I've gotten really close, and we're going to work really hard on getting a Hall of Fame chapter in Chicago. The next one is to stack multiple one-to-ones at the same day, same location. Again, you want to make sure they're quality one-to-ones, but sometimes getting that headspace in the right place to have those kinds of business building conversations. And in that way, you leave with action items, several action items for each member in your chapter. And you can use those action items to backfill your pipeline of referrals for the months to come. And then finally, ask for an agenda before scheduling. You can also provide that, right? The gains exchange. I'm going to keep going back to it. Gains exchange is a great way to have a format and an agenda and to keep things on track, keep those one-to-ones focused, keep them business building, and keep them with an agenda that has a clear action item. So go out and have some great one-to-ones this week. Your weekly challenge is to post a one-to-one selfie along with a goal and tag your business partner that you had the one-to-one with on the BNI Chicago Facebook page or LinkedIn page. Have a great week.